Welcome to the Sunday Morning Chaos Podcast, where we talk about church, marriage, and family.
Yeah.
This is Austin Aiken and my co-host here,
Zeke Toops.
Zeke Toops. Let's dive into it. Zeke, we are both married guys, and again, we are talking about church, marriage, and family. And I believe marriage is a great thing. Is definitely one of the greatest days of my life when I got married. Everything changed. Will you tell tell me, and everybody else that's listening, how long you've been married, when you got married, how you got to the place of marriage, and tell us all the things.
Today is Katie and I's 8th-month anniversary, believe it or not.
There we go.
If that's
Nice.
even an anniversary. I don't believe it is, but it is something. 8
Yeah.
months. We've been married for 8 months. January 18th, 2025 was the day we got married. We dated for 2 years and got married on our 2-year dating, 2 years of dating. Happened to be my mom's birthday, so that was something.
Nice.
So we got married, January 18th, 2025. I knew Katie when I first started going to college at LSUS. I met her there at the BCM. Started doing some music stuff. I went and led worship at a church, and she kind of came along with me, and we were friends. And then we realized we liked each other, and we just kind of started dating. And one thing led to another, and really enjoyed being around each other, and realized that this is something. And with a lot of conversations with you and some other friends, I felt confident to ask her to be my wife, and that's our quick little story.
Yeah, 8 months.
8 months of marriage, been together for coming on 3 years.
Yeah, happy 8 months to
Yes,
you.
sir. What about you, my friend?
Yeah, I have been married for 9 years. In January, it will be 10 years. You got married January 18th. I got married January the 9th. That's how I remember it. And your birthday is September 9th.
Yours is July 21st.
Yeah, and I don't know how you remember that, but so in January it will be 10 years. Me and Grace met at a Disciple Now, if you ever heard of that, Disciple Now, and we had previously gone to Calvary Baptist Academy together for 1 year. That's how we were able to make a mutual connection. A lot of other details there, but started talking on Facebook because we're ancient, I guess. Started dating and dated for I think like 5 years or so before we got married in 2016. And 10 years of marriage and 2 kids, and again, marriage is a great thing. I love marriage. It is a good thing, and I would highly encourage everybody to get married.
People ask me a question a lot: how's married life? And that's kind of a strange question to hear. But I always answer, it's way better than being engaged. And I mean that. Like being engaged and dating, those are all great seasons to be in, but there's nothing like being married, being together, being with your person.
For sure.
Here's a question for you, Austin. Has that time of coming on 10 years, has that been like a long time? Does it feel like it's been real quick, or does it feel like it's been kind of just a slow journey together?
It in different ways it feels like it's been real quick. In different ways it feels like it has gone by real fast. We've been together for 15 years, married for almost 10. And there's times where I feel like we have been together forever, and like that's all I can remember. And we've joked about that before. Like you don't remember it, like even you, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't even remember what it was like not being married.
Yeah, I lived in that apartment we live in now for about 2 months before Kate and I got married. I lived there by myself, and it was so strange. Like I think, what did I used to do just in that apartment, just hanging out? Like I don't know. I don't remember what it was like before we were together.
Yeah. Married. For sure, yeah, and it feels like it's going by fast. Let me ask you this, Zeke. Return the question, and more than just how's married life, Zeke. How's married life? You're married, Zeke, but 8 months in, how is being married? Is Is it everything you ever dreamed of? Is it different than what you expected? What? Give us all the stuff.
So I'm like a romantic person, you know.
Yeah.
I don't remember a time like I've always like thought about marriage. I've always wanted to be married. I can say this that like it's lived up to that expectation.
Yeah.
It is good. It's different than I thought in some ways, and
Sure.
it's hard in some ways that I didn't think would be hard.
Yeah.
But also it's just a blessing, and it's really we've seen the Lord. Like I feel like I have a deeper relationship with the Lord since being with Katie. I think
Yeah.
I've known her different, and like it's nice for me to have someone that can see me for who I am and can listen to me. And I don't know, there's a lot that comes from being married that I shouldn't have before. And
Yeah.
so I'm very thankful.
For
Very
sure.
thankful for it.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely it feels like I feel like a better person because I'm
But
married.
I also don't feel like I know anything. Like I don't
Yeah.
feel like I know like what I'm doing. I don't
Yeah.
know if that feeling goes away at like a year or 5 years or 10.
At 10, you feel like you know everything.
Because
I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I don't know. But I like that feeling. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm in control. It makes me want to rely on her and rely on the Lord. Like
Sure.
like I need to. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
For sure. Yep. It is a good thing for sure. And I have I would obviously knew you before you got married and knew just how much you always wanted to be married and talked about being married. And I've told you this before, but you have a great wife, and I'm excited for y'all 8 months in. And
did you think about marriage like that? Like how you knew me in high school, you knew me
Yeah.
early college. Did you think about marriage in the same way?
I
Kind of getting into your adulthood.
I would say I did. Two answers here.
Yeah.
A weird answer because you know me, it's gonna be weird. No, I did not think about marriage, but I told Grace a month into our relationship in high school that I was gonna marry her.
That's crazy.
So it's like I didn't ever think about it, but it was like I started dating her, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna marry you one day." And like I hadn't. Let's be honest, I had never used that line before.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like that wasn't like my line, but it was. I just went, "Hey, I'm gonna marry you one day," and yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like people my age, people younger than me, people in high school now. They do seem to talk about marriage a
Sure,
lot, and
yeah.
I think it's a topic on people's minds.
Yeah.
That like I don't know. That's why I asked that question. If it was like that when you were kind of coming into adulthood, if that was the same,
Yeah.
the same feel. You
Yeah.
know?
Why do you think? You may not have an answer for this. Why do you think they like this generation thinks about marriage so much?
I don't know why it would be any different than your generation, but I do think it's like just the way culture has made it out to be. We
Yeah.
watch movies, we see like influencers, you know, who have married podcasts, whatever the thing is. I think there's a big there's like an example for it, and I think a lot of people think that that's like the way they're gonna you know, find their happiness or whatever. Like they might have a bad view of it, but it's still on their mind.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I will say it again to talk about how good marriage is. I do this at every wedding I've ever preached. Like I remind them, I'm like, this is something that honors God. You know what I mean? Like, because the world you can definitely just go, hey, I'm just gonna continue just to date, and I'm gonna be with. I may even live with the person that I'm quote unquote dating, but marriage is something that honors God for sure. And anytime someone says I choose to get married, it's a good thing.
Yeah, for
So.
sure. I will say this too, though. Like, there's a lot of people who I think are looking towards marriage like it's the end all be all. Like, I'm not happy now,
Yeah.
but if I get married, then I'll be happy. You know what I mean? Like, but I think that's something that's like wrong. Like, I think we can figure out before we ever even find that person that's gonna be the person. Like, I need to be sure that me and the Lord are in a good spot,
Yeah.
and not just think it's gonna be some person that fixes all my problems.
Oh,
Because,
yeah.
In fact, you bring a lot of problems into it too.
For
you
sure.
Don't even realize you got going on.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. It definitely. I've heard someone say this before, so this is not an original thought, but it definitely like highlights any kind of problems you already got going.
Yeah.
Like you are more selfish than ever, and like this is a different conversation for a different day, but same thing with kids. It just makes it's like, oh, I am not a very nice person, or I think about myself a lot, and you're like, oh, there's somebody else there, and it's a cool thing to work out though, for sure. I have been looking at this, and didn't plan on turning to this, but I believe it's in Ephesians, right? As a pastor, I'm supposed to know this.
Yeah, you're supposed to know all the Bible, right?
Ephesians chapter 5, I believe, which is it says what, Zeke? As you know.
Actually, I think I do know. Is that that's the passage, isn't it?
Yeah, is that the passage? Yeah, Ephesians chapter 5.
Marriage
I was
passage.
right. I used to make a joke and say Zeke is in seminary. I'm not, but
He's in seminary now, guys.
started back.
He's working on that Master's of Divinity.
Zeke-
We're Bible nerds together.
Yeah, Zeke inspired me. You know more than me. You're still very much smarter than me.
Oh my
but
gosh.
Ephesians 5 is a conversation with husbands and wives. In that first part there in verse 21, it says, "And further submit to one another out of reverence for Christ." What does that look like for you, Zeke? What do you think when you say, "And further submit to one another out of reverence for Christ"? What is that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's something we're still very much trying to figure out
Yeah,
of what it looks like to in this passage. What really it does something for me where it talks about how Christ loved the church, and that's
yeah,
how I'm to love Katie, right?
sure,
And
yeah,
that's submitting to each other. I think that's a lot of me looking out for what she needs and what she wants, and how I can help her before I think about me.
yeah,
And that has been, if I can say, there's been a hard part of marriage, getting out of my own brain and getting out of
yeah,
what I think I want, what I think I need, and trying to consider somebody else and trying to love and cherish and be there and help somebody else. That is hard.
oh yeah,
That is really hard.
for sure.
But I can say, as I've done it a little bit, like it seems like that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure. Yeah, and it's a learning process, not to be cliche or even funny, but it's definitely like where you're like, yeah, the goal is to learn it. No one goes into marriage going, man, I am good at this. It's like, no, you just learn it. You figure it out. And it's great, just as this verse right there talks about going, Jesus is our example for that, right? That
Right.
it's not like I gotta figure out what it looks like to submit to my wife or her submit to me or to love her like Jesus. Like he showed us what that looks like. And it's not easy, but it's like, oh yeah, we have an example for
Yep,
sure.
that's the Ephesians 5:25. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. Right? That's a high calling, you
Yeah,
know.
for
And
sure.
that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Like we can't go into marriage and thinking that somebody else is going to do it and make ourselves like happy. It has to be found in Jesus first.
Yeah.
And not to say I've done that perfect, but when we find ourselves in Jesus and we love Jesus and we're walking with Jesus, then we know that love for ourselves. And so as a guy, as a husband, I know what it looks like to like lay my life down for Katie in different ways because I've seen Jesus in my own relationship with him and how he's done that for me.
Yeah,
You
for
know?
sure. This in verse 26, and I'm gonna ask you, but I don't really have a great answer for it either. So let's just talk about it together, I guess. But verse 26, it says, "To make her holy and clean,
Hmm.
washed by the cleansing of God's word." What in the world is that, right? When you read that, what is that? Because again, I don't. It's not like I'm not testing you.
Yeah.
It's like I'm trying to figure that out too.
I think like I mean I'm figuring it out and I don't exactly know. I think there's something that as husbands are leading and that person that's pointing our wives and our family to Jesus, washing her with the word and that I don't know other than like that Jesus has to be in the conversation at the
Sure,
house.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, what
yeah.
does Jesus want us to do? I've heard, I think it's Joby Martin says you need to be the lead repenter, right?
Hmm.
The lead forgiver. And I think it's a lot more of that than some like, do what I say, you
Yeah.
know, but
Or even like just reading scripture out loud.
yeah.
You're like, "Will you just talk to me? Can we watch Netflix?"
Yeah, for sure. I think in the times where Kate and I have felt closest together and to Jesus has been times when we're like, I don't know why, and we don't do this enough, but I think we just need to like pray for a second.
Sure, yeah.
And those have been some cool times, and I wish I could say they're more, but they're not. Maybe in 10
Yeah.
years they will be.
No, absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know?
I think this is more of a parenting thing, but it applies to marriage as well. But I heard a guy tell me one time, he was like, anytime your kid is feeling like afraid or something, what better way to teach them that God's with them than to suggest, hey, let's stop and pray. You know what I mean? Not saying that we don't do this, but there are plenty of times where it's like, hey, I don't know what to do. I'm anxious. I'm worried. Whatever it is, and our wives come to us, and as men, it should be this like, hey, yeah, I don't have to figure this out. Let's talk to the one that has everything figured out, that being God. And
It reminds me of that I was able to preach it a few weeks ago about that story of Jehoshaphat that army's invading and the whole nation's looking to him for the answer and the only thing he knows to do is says we don't know what to do but we're gonna put our eyes on you God.
Yeah.
Like we're
Yeah.
gonna we're not gonna try to figure this one out
For
'cause
sure.
we can't and
Yeah.
so let's seek the Lord and
for sure.
he has a way of answering.
Yeah, like that's I think a lot of husbands would be like, yep, let me try to figure everything out. It's like, yeah, you got to do some stuff.
For sure.
you can't be like, we're gonna figure out if God's gonna cut this grass or not. You're like,
Right.
no, like you got stuff to do. But for washing her with God's word, reminding and remembering what He says, and turning our attention towards Him. So I don't know where we're at with time, Zeke, but I want to ask this question. Maybe we can laugh a little bit. What's something in marriage that has been very unexpected. Maybe hard, but now you can laugh about it. And while I make you squirm 8 months into marriage, I'll come up with my answer too on the other
Okay.
end. But what's something that you're like, I didn't expect this, and this is wild, this is crazy. But
I'm trying to think. I have a silly example. I inherited a car with Katie. That's a nice car. It's a 2014 Nissan Altima,
yeah,
and we did this number where we switched a lot. And in the summertime, the AC compressor went out in her car, and we were just kind of in this place where we're like, I don't need to fix it quite yet. Let me save up a little money, and then I'll fix it.
yeah,
So I drove around her car. She had my car, and I drove around that car in the heat all summer.
yeah,
And because I didn't want her to drive it because it's hot, but it was horrible. And I can
yeah,
laugh about it now, but in the summertime, it was not funny at all.
yeah,
I was exhausted and I was like sweaty, and she got to drive my car. It was fine. It was good.
yeah.
But that was like my whole summer. And
Yeah,
so,
and that's what you do when you're married. You're like,
yeah,
yeah, you drive the car with AC, and I'll figure it out,
yeah,
and I'll also figure out how to pay for this.
yeah.
And that was not something
And
to be
that,
like,
I like wanted to call my dad because like he's been that guy, or like her dad's been the guy that's like figure that stuff out, and now I'm the guy to figure that out. And that's
yeah,
a weird concept. Like,
yeah,
I
for
don't quite
sure.
feel ready for all that.
Yeah, and it's not bad to call your
No,
dad sometimes.
no.
You get a little advice, a little wisdom, and that was one of those things. He's like, let's lay hands on the car, and maybe it'll fix.
Yeah. What about you, man?
Um, I think early on, I learned this lesson the hard way, but early on, I thought like sharing the load of like house duties
Mm.
was going to be different. And in my mind, I was like, I'm doing a lot, and there's a very specific story that me and Grace reference now, and we laugh about it. But where she asked right before we went to bed, Zeke, right before we went to bed, she asked, "Hey, could you maybe help me do the dishes more?
Mm.
I could really use your help." And I said, very famous line in my house, I said, "You need help doing the dishes." And I grabbed the vacuum and I said, "What about this? Do you even know how to turn this thing on?"
Bad.
Yes,
Bad.
very bad. And yeah, very unexpected, as in, like, in my mind, it was like I do half and you do half. And there's definitely seasons where it's like, I do 100%, she does 100%, and or whatever.
What about, have y'all ever had a season where neither of y'all do anything?
Yeah, and you just
come home and that house is just a wreck.
you're like,
Is that just
whatever,
us?
whatever.
Yeah.
No, definitely, for sure. And yeah, you just figure it out. But again, this time talking is about church and marriage and family, and just the idea behind our silly name Sunday Morning Chaos is
Yeah.
that trying to get to church sometimes as a married couple, or as a family, or even as pastors sometimes,
Yeah.
it's just a bit chaotic. And we just want to talk about all the things, and but also highlight the fact that while life, yes, is chaotic and crazy, life is real good. And I'm grateful and thankful that God's been good to me, and I know He's been good to you
Oh, yeah.
as well. So we'll talk about it more, and we'll see where this goes.
Come on.
Yeah. All right.
We'll see you.
See you.